Hi, hello,
And welcome to the Knit Pretty podcast. I'm Layton. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Zella318. And
I'm Tandy. I can be found on Ravelry and Instagram also as Trandleigh, Trandleigh.
that should be appearing over her head right now.
And if not, it'll be in show notes, which should be up fairly soon, if they're not up already.
And welcome back to new returning viewers and hi to new viewers. We didn't podcast last month because life happened.
Excessive work schedules, travel, just kind of life in general, and we did maybe 5 minutes of free time for the whole month that overlapped.
So I was going to try and do some vlogs. They didn't get done, but I might add, if this thing doesn't get too long, which I think it's going to.
We're chatty and we've got yarn.
We're chatty, we've got yarn, we've got planning, and there's a cat.
Just one today, just one cat.
Just one cat, but he's
opinionated.
He's opinionated, and he's a mess. And so we're going to just roll with this. If you hear weird noises, that's probably him. And if I think I might put in some of the videos from last time we were at VFW together, listening to a friend's husband's band play. At the end of this video, if it is less than, if we haven't gone over an hour and a half.
I was gonna say people could stop it and watch it at some other time.
Okay. So I'm drinking out of this mug I painted.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just got it I got it back from the Glazers last week, so I'm really happy. It's some orange spice tea from Tea and Urban Tea House in back in my hometown of Country. So I got this last Christmas, and it's been in a 10, so it's all good. But it's the second day of fall. And it actually feels like we're going to get a fall and an autumn.
I bought my house on the first day of fall. I just realized that.
Oh.
But 2 years ago. So, yeah. And I'm drinking Coca-Cola.
We're not sponsored.
No, I just in preference of my cola drink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
I needed a drink and there was a gas station on the way.
Okay, so for only being 2 months, I have only 3 finished objects.
I have a sock and 2 things. Because I finished the other sock a few months ago.
Okay, so basically we have 3 things.
Yeah.
Alright. So I'll start because it's finally done!
Yay!
Okay, it's finally done, and I still have to sit down with a glass of wine and actually no, there's beer in the fridge. There's beer in the fridge.
There are adult beverages for weaving in ends.
And probably a movie. Or 2.
One of the multi-disc ones?
Yeah, like Titanic before it was...
Gettysburg was 2 tapes long when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The Hobbit. Lord of the Rings.
All of the Harry Potter movies, which is going to tie into this episode so much. So this is the Changes shawl by Mina Phillip, and it is absolutely massive and huge, and I love it, and it's done. So
it's 2 of us, and our outer arms are fully extended.
Yes, it's. I'm extremely happy. It needs the ends woven in. It needs to be soaked and blocked, which is going to make it even bigger. I love this thing. So it was done in Primrose Yarn Company. On their sock base, it's done. You guys have seen it, but it's finally done.
It's almost like fringe on some of the colorful bits.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's inconsistent fringe, unfortunately, or else I would just leave it.
Yeah.
So in the end, I did start knitting in my ends, like weaving them in as I went. So it was like the weird technique that you can find on, I think, Very Pink Knitting or something like that.
I found one from Zandy Peters.
Yeah, it's the other one. It's like okay. Off my head, but it's the blonde woman who's very calm and does all the tutorials. I'm not sure.
I usually find somebody locally and I go, show me and let me stand over your shoulder.
Well, I think I was not. I get the feeling I was in Oklahoma City when I finished this up. So
That sounds about right, I think, for when
Yeah.
you let me know.
yeah, I got to go home to my mom and my dad. And the fruits of all of that are mentioned later, but
She had plans and a to-do list for when I go home, this is what I'm working on.
and only part of one got done. One got done,
But you made progress. You actually
did.
accomplished something on your list.
but the problem was I left a major part of one of them here.
Oh,
And I'll explain when I get to it. When we get to it, because there's a large sewing portion of it for this month. So you have a sock that you
I
finished?
have a sock. Previously, I finished a sock for my mom from last Christmas of 2017, using Mrs. Crosby plays or Mrs. Crosby's yarn, and the train case base, which is a merino nylon Outlast. I know it has Outlast, and this is the toucan colorway. And then I finished the other one. I still have those in to weave in, and the final decent amount of left, but it's not a very high cuff, just enough to go over the shoes that she normally wears. It's,
Okay.
I don't know.
3.5, 4 inches.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I handed a sock to her and I said, "How high? Higher, lower, there?" And she gave me an opinion. And I like the socks, and I put them on, and I want a pair for myself out of this yarn. And so I'll be shopping more for Mrs. Crosby's train case. Oh,
Well, I will go on to my socks, which are I have sock blockers. I've had these for a while.
you're impressive.
I had to fish them out from wherever they were hiding in my room, but yeah. These are the Clark socks. These are my Christmas Eve socks. They are the Clark socks by Jacqueline Salem. I did have to modify them a little bit because I have ginormously wide feet.
And by Christmas Eve, you mean you cast them on December 24th? Or...
As in, I'm going to be wearing them on December 24th.
Okay.
So my family does a big Christmas Eve dinner where we invite basically all the people my parents are friends with. They're my Christmas family, so it's 2 Jewish couples and a guy who is divorced and whose daughter lives out of town. So, and who rides bikes with my dad. So, which is a thing.
Her dad's an avid bike rider.
And how? He's biked up and down the mountains in Colorado, biked across Oklahoma every which way, which is where they live. He hasn't done that many rides in Texas because rides are generally in spring and it's already hot.
I get the impression Texas is always hot.
There's sometimes when it dips below 50 degrees.
To a northerner, that's cool.
Yes. So I absolutely love them. They're very comfy.
They're
These
very
are
pretty.
on O-Loops Twist Knot in the poinsettia colorway. I got this from Lydia for her Christmas collection last year because
What a nice flecks of green, and I
Oh,
like
yeah.
the cable across the top of the foot and up the front.
Yeah, I absolutely love these socks, and you'll be seeing them again very soon because these are the mom-daughter socks. So I'm making my mom a pair, and you'll see those in there.
My turn for something.
Yes.
I made a scarf. My original plan was to use 3 balls of Malabrigo Chunky. I ended up using 2, but I think I like the link. I'll give it a try. The pattern is by Zandy Peters, Double Mustard, and it's a cabled scarf.
That's reversed.
Yeah, it's reversed. It's front and back are both nice. It doesn't really have a unpleasant back. There's one side of it. I believe by the pattern, this is the front. And this is
It
the
doesn't get very tight.
yes. This is the back by the pattern. And it took a second to get used to it because I'm used to cables being knit to, like, you have 4 knits in a row and then you switch the order so you knit the last 2 in front of the back 2 or something like that. But this was like knit 2, purl 2, or move the 2, the 3rd and the 4th stitches are purls, and you move them in the front and you purl them and then you knit the last 2. So it just took some getting used to it, but I really liked it. It was easy to do, and the yarn was Malabrigo, Chunky, and Emerald. And the thickness of the yarn and the fact that the cables were only over 4 stitches, so I was able to cable without a separate cable needle, so just kind of manipulate it and hold it, because the yarn didn't go anywhere when I pulled out the needle, and it was really nice. I like it.
And I also liked it.
This got entered into the Missouri State Fair, and beginning of May, I got word that she's the judge. So I had to start.
Like, basically, after I found out, I texted her, and I'm like, I'm judging.
So in order to make sure that the judge didn't know anything that I was entering her, I was going, I need to start from scratch. Whatever it is I do, I have to start from scratch that she hasn't seen. And I was like, so I can't put it on Instagram or Ravelry or show it to her. Like, I'm planning on doing this. And so I pulled out my winter yarn. Or the yarn I was planning to do this winter for a scarf. And I went to town on it. And I got this done, and she gave me seconds. And it was good. I liked it. But the pattern was a purchased pattern. But the instructions was a page of chart. There was written, and then there's the chart key. So I was able to just print out the chart and tuck it in my bag to go with me whenever I went somewhere. And then the scarf has pleasing and interesting front and back.
Yeah.
So I really like it.
Which really good.
I could see it going. I could see myself making more of these, but I think I would go for like a solid or a tonal color, not variegated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is just, it's perfect in the tonal.
Yeah.
As it is. So.
Yeah. It was.
And just that.
You
know my comments.
Yeah.
There's a sheet of them.
Yes. A nice thing about the Missouri State Fair is you get a sheet of comments from your judges, and it's scores, like 9 out of 10 points or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also comments from the judges, so you actually have some guidance on what you can improve or what was liked. And then the pattern name, Double Mustard, I think, or it's partially because the photos of the scarf and the pattern are of a mustard color. And so that's kind of where I'm thinking the name comes from. But it's not the only Z.D. Peters pattern I have, and I would probably be getting more of that. So your turn.
Well, talking about mustard. You guys haven't seen this ever. And I do mean ever. I started this a year ago June. So it's been on the needles probably 14 months. Before I went to Denver last year.
I just remember when you got the yarn.
I got the yarn a lot earlier than that. I got the yarn Christmas of 2015.
Okay. Because I remembered you having the yarn in a big time, like, this is mine. You may feel one. This is mine.
Yeah. So it is the Wayne cardigan by Amy Sutherland. And it is a nice little top cardigan. And I did have to adjust it for my measurements, so I did not do the full length. And then I had to do my own math and figure out the sleeves, because I am sure. But it is really cute, and it needs buttons, and all the ends will be woven in. But other than that, it is done.
I like it.
Yep. And I'm looking forward to wearing it this winter, because it will be very nice and toasty warm.
I like the
and it is in Crimson Petal Lark in their honey colorway.
the
So it's basically the color that changes colors because there it looks green, here it looks gold as it's adjusting, and
and it's not just a trick of the camera. It's
it's truly
Yeah.
it's truly the lighting.
and then flip the back.
Yeah,
The lace panels go all the way around. I like that.
yeah. So, which will make it really nice and readable. What is my last? The reason I had picked this up again was one, I wanted to wear it. Two, I was in, because of things that will become very clear very soon, hopefully. I was in a holding pattern, which is what I get in August and September. I get into this holding pattern because something absolutely huge starts in October, which I will discuss because I'm a dork.
It's an annual event that she highly anticipates.
Yes, and I love it. I'm very excited, and I was a yarn pig. I was a yarn pig, and yeah, you'll. Sorry, we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise.
It's a kind of a glimpse of how excited she was for all of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
My turn again. Another Missouri State Fair entry. Another, guess what, Unique Sheep. But a few years ago, Unique Sheep had a club, and they've done clubs off and on where you sign up for a 6-month period, and every other month you get yarn and a pattern for a project according to the theme. And I signed up for, I believe this was the second round of their art club. So a knitting project inspired by a piece of art. And this was inspired by a Salvador Dali painting with bricks going off in the distance and the clock melting, and it was called, I believe, the shawl pattern is called Disintegration. And the yarn, I'll have to double check what the name of the artwork it was based off of. But the yarn was 3 balls of the EOS, which is a wool silk blend, and it starts with kind of a yellowish color, yellow with a little bit brown, and then yellow and more brown. And the pink trim or slipped stitches at the top is kind of a pink silk. It's pink Maurice silk, and it's all lace weight, and it's in almost like a V or a square, but you cut a wedge out of it. So it looks like it will drape and sit on your shoulders well. It was my first time to do this shape of a pattern, and my first time with this particular designer. And so I got a couple rows into it, and I had some confusion with the instructions. So I sent her a message saying, I'm not sure about something. This is very confusing. And she very promptly says, oh, what is it? Maybe I have experience. I can help you out with it. And then I remember, I can't tell her. So I just fumbled and said something or other. But it has fun eyelet holes.
I think he says, never mind, I figured it out.
Yeah, that might have been it. But it was a fun pattern. And I liked it. And I got third. There it is. Yeah. I finished it and blocked it at about 11 o'clock at night, and so one wing of it is very obviously different than the other. But it was 11 o'clock, and I was done, and I was tired, and yeah. So I just called it quits.
Yeah.
There was comments on my blocking.
Yeah, well,
That's a nice thing about that score sheet that is used, is there's comments of this could be improved, or this needed some work, or this looked nice, and so it's not, you'll get more than just 95 out of 100 or whatever the number is.
yeah. Well, see, also yours were early on in the day.
Yeah.
We get to that last category, and I don't think I was writing comments. It was, well, you have to also realize that the last category is the junk drawer category.
Anything not of the above.
Yeah, and or anything that you already had one in the categories of the above, and you wanted to enter another one. And so then it just kind of gets to be like, oh good God, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like we had an Afghan in there,
And there's
an Afghan category.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty. If we had checked the tags and checked the Afghan tags, I'm sure one of those numbers would have matched up.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
There is one year where one thing I entered was on the very last of the list, because the list of entry categories is like shawl, stole, lace weight, scarf, socks, and the one thing I entered was the very last item of options on the list, and I think that year it was just a number score. Good job!
Yeah,
that was it.
Well, yeah, it's just because it's the end of the day.
Yeah.
And the stay started at 8 and went till 4.
And you had like an hour drive to get there or something like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like sleep in, have a nice breakfast.
No, this was.
But I appreciate getting the comments, and not just here's your number placed.
Yeah.
But it's fun to finish something and then enter it. But I use the state fair as like a deadline. If I have to finish something, so look, I finished something this summer.
And the one that won grand champion was just
lace weight beads, purple.
Yeah, it was
a lot of beads. It was pretty.
Yeah, and the reason I think that you got a little bit on the block because we had that blocking in mind.
The blocking was bad.
Well, it was just because on that one, every single point except for one, except for a pair, one pair matched on the entire thing.
Yeah.
And it was like the other judge and I were like, okay, can we stop judging now? This one, let's go home.
Yeah. And my blocking, if done properly, could be a mirror image along the center line, but it was more like stick figure and elephant.
Yeah, and I know her blocking well enough that it didn't look like her blocking. But I understand. once I talked to you later, I was like, never mind. I get this.
Part of the goal was the judges not be able to go, oh, Tandy did that one, and I succeeded.
Yes. Unfortunately, the judges were able to pick out so-and-so did that on a different person. But that was because she entered something in every single category. And I'm not talking about it anymore. We're done. Yeah.
In progress.
Yes. Whips.
She has a pile of yarn over here, and I want more information.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all in stash enhancement and planning.
Okay, but we got whips first.
We have
whips.
We get to that. Okay, we have whips. So, best friend is pregnant.
Woo!
And this has barely been started, but I'm making her baby blanket. This is also part of stash enhancement. I got this while I was in Oklahoma, so it's a much deeper yellow, baby yellow, but it is still a yellow. And that is being paired.
To me, it's like a lemon meringue or a lemon custard.
It's really. So those are the colors. And she's having a little girl.
I still like the colors.
And so, but she really wants. So the whole house is kind of gray, like cool grays. And so this is just basically an extension of that. But their theme is sheep and stars. And so this is going to have sheep on it. This is going to have knit pearl sheep on it. It is the Snuggly Sheep by Sylvia. I have it written down for a reason.
Sometimes we think ahead and have notes.
Sylvia Leek. So it's really cute, and I'm actually using the yarn specified in the pattern.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually a bigger thing than anyone realizes. And it is living in my bag that I made. This is my large bags that I made. And these don't have like the fluffy interfacing, they just have like hard interfacing.
I need to finish I have one of your big bags, and I need to finish that so I can put something else in it and use it.
Or you just wait until Christmas. Because I have plans. So that has to be done by early November. So need to crack on with this.
Yep.
So
In progress.
whoops.
I think I've got my Rapunzel shawl. I don't think I've done much since I last saw it.
It looks bigger.
I think it is bigger.
It looks bigger.
I believe it is, but I don't remember. It's a unique sheep mystery knit along, and so each week a clue was sent out, and the Rapunzel was sent out over 10 weeks or 10 clues. This is, I believe, a little bit of the way into clue 5, and there are, if you've knit the Even Star, you might recognize some of, thank you,
That's really
the flower stitch.
Here, wait.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, there it is. And so there's a few rows of those flower stitches. And I think I just did the last one. I've heard the shawl ends up being very, very large, and I'm trying not to spoil myself, so I haven't looked at any of the threads past where I am. But clue 10, or the final clue, went out a couple of weeks ago. But I'm using 100% alpaca yarn, and so it's very lightweight feeling, but I've enjoyed knitting with it. And in fact, one day at work I was getting chilly, and I had this with me. So I went out to my car, got it, and I brought it in. So I'm sitting at my desk like this. This is pretty nice. Clue 4 makes a good shawl. A little neck warmer. It's got beads on it, but I realized I need to buckle down and finish last year's Christmas presents and then get started on this year's Christmas presents. And so personal knitting kind of got set aside, and so Rapunzel's kind of on hold.
So yeah, the last ones. So, as I said, you would be seeing the Clark socks again. So this is my mom's version. So she obviously has skinnier feet than I do, but it is still in a sport weight yarn, and these do fit her feet. Oh yeah, and then it's a little progress keeper.
There we go.
Yeah, by Little Bitty Delights that I got in a package that I will be talking about later, and it is Slytherin.
I was like,
It's the sorting hats on one side. There's like a little chocolate chip.
it looks like a cupcake with
It is.
with green filling.
Yes, and that's
I see. It's
how you know you're Slytherin.
neat. Yeah.
So, and that is on Queensland Rustic Tweed base. It is. It is 65% wool, 25% alpaca, 4% acrylic, and 3% viscose. It is the craziest blend ever, and I love it. It's really.
It felt nice.
Yeah, it's really. After I had done my Clark socks in a sport weight, I started doing moms in fingering weight, and I just wasn't liking it. It wasn't squishy and cushy enough, so I switched to a different weight. So, and they do fit. The people looking at that and they go, no one's going to fit. You have to. But it fits. There's a lot of give in here, so it fits. But I will be seeing her not next week, but the weekend after that, and I hope to have one sock finished for her to try on in case I completely bunk this up. So.
Yeah. It's like, close your eyes. I still want something to be surprised.
Oh no, it's not a surprise.
Oh,
She knows she knows she's getting these. These are the because we're gonna wear them together on Christmas Eve during the party. So, and it is in my Hook and Gauge bag. She no longer makes this type of bag. She does some others, and she's not Hook and Gauge anymore. She's something else. So I don't know. We'll figure it out and put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So.
Progress. This might be considered progress. I've got a gauge swatch made.
That's progress.
I'll call it progress. Okay. I for this coming 2018, I would like to give sweaters for Christmas. One to my mom, one to my dad. And I'm using Blue Moon Fiber Arts BFL Sport, which is 100% blue-faced Leicester, 661 yards at 8 ounces. So I end up with a big ball of yarn. And I did one swatch using size 4. One of the tags suggests size 4 and size 5 needles. So I did one swatch. I set it out to dry, and then a bit later I heard one of my cats making a noise like she's chewing on something, or it was not quite her usual playing with a toy noise. And I look over, she was chewing on the swatch. She had unraveled a couple of the stitches because she was chewing on the tail. So BFL Sport is cat approved. But I took the swatch and I tucked it up my sleeve one day, and I was wearing it to see if I thought it was sweaty, scratchy, or if I could stand it against my skin. And I was at dinner one night with friends, and the day I wore it, and I was like, why is there a lump under my sleeve? And I reached up, pulled out the swatch, and the other people at the table just gave me strange looks, and I said, test sweater, see if I like it. And they were like, okay, whatever. And then another day I wore it like down the back of my shirt, and by the end of the day I had forgotten it was there until I went to take off my shirt and it was flying. In the ball, it feels a little scratchy, but after I blocked it, I think I used soap. I haven't noticed it. To me, it feels.
Oh yeah,
it feels great. But the swatch for the suggested gauge of the pattern I'm looking at isn't quite right, so I'm doing size 5 now. See if I like it, and I'm planning on using Tin Can Knit's Playdate pattern for a button-up V-neck cardigan. And the sizes on it go from baby to adult 4XL, so you have a wide variety, and I think it'll work for both mom and dad. So hopefully I can get 2 sweaters done by Christmas. Yes, and you're giggling, and I'm going, it's not going to happen, but I'm going to work for it.
Well, I mean, I have my very baby on everything, so it's...
Yep, and that's my in progress.
So I have one more. It's sort of an in progress. So I needed just something to knit on, and so I started just a plain sock, and I dropped a stitch.
It's got a faint bit of spiraling going on.
Yeah, it does have a bit of spiraling going on. And I have a Death by Coffee progress keeper on it by Simply Sewing. It was 4 inches down.
Oh my.
So I'm not sure just what I don't know what I want to do now. But it was what I was working on. I was just sitting there chatting with a friend. I started probably a little after this, a little before this, and just kept knitting, and we were chatting, and it was plain sock. It was doing its job of keeping my hands busy, but that's kind of discouraging.
Yeah.
So
the color and the colors are playing really well together. Yeah.
Well, and it's Captain Jack.
I was gonna say I think I know what it is.
It's Captain Jack by Holiday Yarns. Holiday Yarns Captain Jack, and we're not sure if it is Captain Jack Sparrow or Captain Jack Harkness.
It kind of works for both.
It works for both.
But you pulled it out, and I was like, Captain Jack!
Yeah. And it is living in my Freckled Rosie sock. What name on it? Mermaids and narwhals, and one rarity is like taking her seahorse on a walk. So. Those are those are the current projects. I'm throwing them towards this area because there's more.
She's a bit more room over there to move things about, and I'm going, I have my little spots. And
sorry. Like, it would just.
I packed my bag of things to show and to bring, and so I get here and I set it out neatly on the little table. And she has
I have a whole chaise.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw something else. I'm like, keep talking. Move on.
okay, so do we want to do stash enhancements? Because that's going to lead into planning.
Okay.
For me, it's going to lead into planning.
Okay. There is a new yarn store here in Columbia, Missouri, called Castaway Yarns, and we've been open
A little less than a month.
about
The
4 weeks.
25th is when August 25th is when they're open.
Yeah. And today is September 23rd.
Yeah. So a month.
Yeah, a month. And I stopped in today for the first time, and I liked it. It was nice. And I bought Mano Still Uruguay Maxima. It is the Fruits of the Forest color, and
Yeah, it's a lot more saturated than the light's making it.
it's got like oranges and some purple and some green, and it is. But it is kind of like berries and some leaves and fruits. So the name's appropriate. I've got a bin with Maxima and other yarns that are equivalent to it that I've got stockpiled up to try to make an eventual blanket out of them. And so right now, when I see one, I'll get one.
So when I went home, I wanted to pick up the yarn for Kristen's baby blanket. And so I kind of knew that I had like a list of yarns that I'm like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And basically it was, and then I found, and then the best one had the best of all those yarns for the yellow, because basically I was going to choose the yellow and then the rest of the colors could like go around it. Because she's like kind of a lighter yellow, like a creamy, buttery yellow, like not Hello Sailor yellow. But at Yarnatopia down in the south side of Oklahoma City, she also had Malabrigo. And the reason I don't necessarily always like Malabrigo is I fight with their skeins when I'm winding them. I generally like go to battle with these skeins, to the point that I hand them over to Nancy, a friend of ours, and be like, I'll make coffee.
Okay.
This.
Nancy is very enthusiastic.
Chocolate. There's chocolate involved.
Mhm.
So so I picked up 2 skeins of Malabrigo. One is Arroyo in their chameleon color, in the chameleon colorway. And this is much brighter than it is on camera.
It's very saturated and intense colors.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be my first forward socks.
I like that color.
I'm not sure. And they're going to be mine. Mom, I'm sorry. Mine. So, and then, and for the girl who loves speckles,
That one.
this is perfect. Like, I could not ask for more perfect speckles. And it is the Makita in the Carnival colorway.
It's comparable. The yarn is comparable to a Tosh Merino Light or a Dream in Color Jelly.
Yeah, and it's a single ply. And I'm sorry. The only person that I know who does speckles better than this, or on par with this, is Lolo DeWitt. And her Holly Jolly colorway. That's what this reminds me of. I got that.
I like that there's a large volume of speckles.
Yeah, it's not like just. This was purposeful. It's not like
Yeah.
just at the end of the dye day of like, oh, let's do this. This was like,
yeah. Or you have a brush and you're just kind of going like that. That is very highly saturated with the speckles. So
Yeah.
I'm overall.
mhm.
One day I found what few speckled yarns I had, and they were all white with some colorful flecks, almost like confetti cake. But that I kind of like.
Because you aren't feeling the speckles.
Right.
So, Because this is going to turn the lighting show again.
Well, I've had a birthday since the last podcast, and I was given a little bit of some money and walking through just a Joann's craft store, and their book rack that day was discounted somewhat, and so I looked, and they had the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible, and I've had my eye on it online for a bit. Because I've seen, it looks interesting, and then I've seen recommendations for it. So I flipped through it, and the patterns looked interesting with like cables with some lace. And I kind of like that it had a translation. And I'm like, with a turn, I feel like that's through.
I feel like that's just not fair. So I bought the first one. So this is the 261. I have the 251 and the 261. But I got the 251, and there was no English translation. I had to sit there and figure it out.
This one has some.
I was also kind of really proud of myself for doing it. So it
is
matter.
Very impressive. Yeah, 'cause she showed me her Japanese stitch charts that she had gotten, and that's impressive. But there's nothing. It's over my head. And then she showed me a hat that she had made out of it, and that was really neat. And it's even more impressive that you went from the charts and the instructions and your language you're not very familiar with at all, or anything, to this really neat hat. So I wimped out and got the translated one.
To be fair, I did study Korean, and we did have to do a whole year on Chinese characters, so
yeah,
I knew enough to get by.
This book has in the front some pages of. I really haven't had a chance to look through it yet because
no!
I saw it, bought it, and now I'm seeing very.
So that's just gonna make my life easier if I start designing again.
Very detailed, like place 3 stitches on here and then do this, and I like it.
Yeah, because they should have pictures in the Japanese books, but without the translation. But you're still kind of fumbling a lot, going, all right, am I doing this correctly? Is this what they're meant to be doing? Or I'm just going to figure out a westernized way to do this. So
yeah.
That's what you do. So, all right.
I have a planning. That's all I've got left, I think.
Okay, we're going to go into reading Goblins now. So, with the new store, I at one point in time had won a drawing for $50 gift certificate. So I got. This is part of a planning. This is very much part of a planning. But 3 skeins of this. It is heritage silk in the Peruvian tones in this gorgeous. Really, I think this is more like a tweedy kind of feel to it of the speckle. It is speckly. But this is going to be the base of the sweater.
So when I think tweed, I think of
the nuts.
Yeah, a physical bump, and that's more of just visual.
Yeah, this is heathery.
Yeah,
heathery. It's not like this will knit up and look very much like a heather. So there's that, and I'll show you what this goes with in a minute. Because she had Quechua, which is a gorgeous extra fine merino baby alpaca and yak blend.
I was there this morning, and I think I touched everything, but that's nice.
And it has an amazing twist on it. I'm dying over this twist, and Barrett hat by Andrea Mowry. Calls for sport weight. This is sport weight. It's the weight of a sport weight, but I think that's because the yak makes it heavy. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, so I'm going to do it on. I'm just gonna make it. It's a kind of a brioche hat, and I'm also going to make the large size on it. So.
And brioche will give it stretch also.
And so, and I got this burgundy and this natural gray. This also goes into planning, but this is also acquisitions from the new shop. And so I got those things I'm going to be talking about later. 2 skeins of Ink and Spice. This is a merino alpaca silk blend. And so in a navy and a natural gray color.
Those go well together.
Yeah.
But I like navy and natural, navy and gray.
Yeah, and it'll go well with the project it is meant for. And then I got some Manos mini skein set, and it's these teals to browns, and I got some kid silk kid setup, mohair silk, for something for Kristen as her birthday present, because her birthday is a couple of days after the baby shower. I wanted to give her something normal.
So she's the mom to be.
She's the mom.
Okay.
And these are definitely her colors, except for maybe that green, but these are definitely her colors, so.
They're pretty.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to make her a hat and use half of these, and then with this, and hold it double. And then with the other half, I'm going to make it for myself, because there's 490 yards of this.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So the Mano Steel Uruguay, this is the Georgiana Fino set, and it is 70% wool, 30% silk, and it is a single ply. So, all right. Where do I go from here?
I don't know. It's got a lot of pretty stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, so they're in project bag, so they're in colors, so they're in project bag.
And with this, I'm probably going to design the hat myself. So we're going into planning now, I think. No, not yet.
I was like, the kind of.
No, there's.
I recognize this label.
So I participate in the Elite Harry Potter PAL that it runs from basically kind of September through December every year.
But you start planning in like May for it because
I bought a prefect kit, so that means budgeting.
And those are available for sale or purchase in like June or something like that. Because I know this is the actual knitting occurs September, October, or October, November, December, something like that in fall. But the planning and starting to shop starts in summer.
Yes. So you can do pre-orders for different things. And
she turns into planning for Harry Potter about end of April, or the excitement starts to build.
Yeah. So I got a prefect kit, and I chose the Slytherin prefect kit because...
Yes, she's a Slytherin.
Yes, very much so. So, was it pretty? Yeah.
It has sparkles.
Yes. So, the colorway that came in every single prefect kit was this one called Christmas at Hogwarts Castle. It is...
So no matter what house you are, you got that?
Yeah. So So it is on her large base, which is non-superwash merino, silk, and sterino. And it's sparkly. It is it's. And then
The sparkles really show up and catch the light well.
Yeah. And then for the Slytherin kit, it was a sock set, and it is Christmas at the Malfoys. So.
Okay, holding it. Wait, so like she's not gonna. She's letting me hold something.
So. I don't know if I've told the story about asking Kristen if she was having a boy or a girl, because I love Lydia's colors, absolutely love them. And I also know that she does, I trust her to do all the colors, so if Kristen was having a boy, I needed to stock up. She's not having a boy. But I sent her the link to the colors, and I was like, alright, I'm making your baby a sweater. Which one? Pick out a color. You can pick out any of these colors. So she picked this one. And it is called Snape Loves Lily. Let's see what deep. She's having a girl. When I saw that there was pink in it, I knew she was having a girl. So that is going to be turned into a newborn vertebrae for the baby. And then I have been drilling over the Hedwig colorway for forever, and so I got it in her twist knot, which is her sport weight. So, Hedwig, there's like yellow, white, natural, and then I was sitting with my parents at dim sum and decided to order 2 more skeins of yarn. Alright, so this is Aloha Mora. It is on her glitter base, which is Fashion Knot, which turned her glitter base. It is absolutely stunning. It is purples and golds and pinks. I love it. Absolutely love it. You're gonna laugh. The name of the next one. So, truthfully, the reason I got this one is because of the name. And it is on her ascot base. And it is Harry Potter is my favorite season.
Yes, that's very, very true.
So you have, it's just, and I do love the colors on this.
It's really neat.
Really pretty. And so, but it's also Harry Potter is my favorite season.
It's accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are the plannings. Those are all the yarns. I don't think we're going to be able to do that.
I was like, we once held up yarn for a Fade shawl collection. This surpasses that.
So that's the yarn from that. Yeah, also in the prefect kit was a pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady for socks for Dumbledore. The letter, the progress keeper you saw on my mom's socks, a little bag, and the pen, which is for the 6th year, because this is the 6th year for Harry Potter, even though I'm a 5th year. I started a year late. And it was a full bar of Tufts Woolens sock soap in the pumpkin passes. So, and it's
pretty much, I walked in the door, sat down, and she said, "Smell this." And it smells really good.
I keep sniffing it. To be very honest.
I think I would too.
Alright.
Because I've seen other bars or smells from Tufts Woolens, and the names look great. Like I saw it seemed like a toasted marshmallow or some campfire. If the smell really delivers on like what's promised,
And with that, I think it like they do.
good.
Like I have after that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's
Because I've seen some recommendations or I like tactical ones on the internet, but this is the first time I've known somebody or have had a chance to see it in person.
So
I see yarn and I'm like, oh, what's going on?
we might do sewing at the end, just so that sewing and the fabric acquisitions at the end, so that it's
If you're a knitter but not a sewer.
let's do it that way.
Are we done? Are we now at the beginning of planning? Or?
We're in the down. Yeah, no, we're at planning.
I'm gonna make socks. I'm like, my turn. These will be socks from last Christmas for my dad, and it is Schoppel brand Das Paar. And this yarn, when you unwind it, it's matched. If you're familiar with how Mustache does her pair of socks, has 2 50-gram balls to wound up in a single thing. It's like that. You unwind it, and it's 2 kind of hanks of yarn wound together that winds into 2 matching balls of yarn. On previous podcast, I held up mostly a brown and green balls of yarn, but I think this will give me. This yarn has some nylon in it, and I also have 2 of it, so I'm confident I will not run out of yarn for it. So casting on this hopefully this afternoon for socks for Dad for Christmas, and I have his foot traced out using the fish lips kiss peel method for it. So hopefully that'll get done soon, along with the 2 sweaters for Christmas this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of sweaters, we're transitioning. So
start with any word, we'll get the sweater somehow.
yeah. So the yarn that this is going to go to, this is going to be, if you don't mind, the main color for a Sunset Highway.
Ooh, this feels nice.
Going to be the main color for a Sunset Highway. And then these 3, which you've seen 2 of them before, because I'm scrapping that idea of doing the fading point with those colors, is these are going to be the other colors. So this is going to be the first color, the in-between color, so that's going to sit right up next to that. And then the bottom color. So the top one is Stranded Dyeworks in her Fjord base, but she has now switched over to just calling them what they are, which is the BFL nylon base in yesterday's bouquet. And then this is Knox Yarn Company in on her Mars sock base in the Ford Anglia colorway, which is a Harry Potter reference. And then this is a Tosh Merino Light in a one-of-a-kind.
I like them.
Yeah, and so it's going to be the Sunset Highway sweater. And I'm not sure when I'm going to pass this on. I think I'm going to do it pretty soon. But I'm going to need to make a dent in this sweater first. So that takes priority. Not the sweater, the blanket.
Yeah, the baby blanket.
The baby blanket takes priority.
Teeny human.
Yellow
sheep.
But this, I want to try and have it as a background project through the next 3 months as another project. I'm going to have 2 background projects so that I can wear this as my Christmas sweater. Because it's not overly Christmassy, but it's subtly Christmassy,
yeah.
I would say. Like, it's evergreen teal.
Yeah. And you could wear it. It'll work as Christmas, but if you wear it not Christmas, it'll just be a nice sweater.
Yeah.
It won't be. You're wearing your Christmas sweater in February?
Yeah. Because I was contemplating doing a true Christmas sweater. The Andy Satterlund It's the one where it's the Christmas tree that you can decorate. I don't remember. I have the pattern. I just don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I was going to do that, and then I realized I really don't have that kind of time. Apparently, my computer only lets us record for an hour and then kicks us off. So,
But it stopped in a decent spot between projects. So we looked up and saw the recording has stopped.
so back to planning.
And at one point during the intermission, I reached to the floor to pick up something. And I thought, what yarn or fabric is that? Oh, it's Izzy's bottom. It's the cat's bottom.
So you already see these, but these are going to turn, these are the Inca Spice, these are going to turn into a Hamilton hat for Izzy's cat sitter. We're coworkers, we're good friends. Basically, I get sent out of town with, if I'm lucky, a week's notice. If I'm not lucky, 3 days notice. So she just has my spare key, and so she gets a very intricate, non-repeating pattern stranded hat
Very nice.
with quotes from all the Hamilton songs on it. Yeah. So, and she's also a crafter, so she knows the time and energy that it's going to take to do this. And I've been saying I'm going to do it for probably about a year now. So I found the yarn. I'm going to do it. It's getting done for Christmas. It is going to be done for Christmas.
Which year?
This year. For quilt, on the other hand, I'm not sure when that's going to be. It's all the fabrics. I still haven't completely unpacked the car from my vacation a couple of weeks ago. To be fair, it's the canned cat food and the fabric for a quilt is all that is left in the car. But I was unpacking the car and I got sick.
Oh,
Like I was getting dizzy and I was getting nauseous.
that's not good.
Because it was, I think we were in a heat advisory.
I think so. I think we
we were in a heat advisory. I didn't know this because I'd been in Oklahoma, which is a heat advisory in general, and I didn't know, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to get everything unpacked. I'm going to get everything unpacked. I should not have been trying to unpack the car that kind of day because it was 3 o'clock. It was muggy. It was just not. No, it was not time and day to do it. So that's what's in my car currently. One of the many things in my car. But back to Harry Potter. Oh, Luke's Harry Potter cowl, because this is what's going to come. The main challenge for the month of October is Jenny Loves Harry. So basically anything Jenny Weasley or anything named after Jenny Weasley or yarn with Jenny Weasley. So I am going to do the Jenny socks. And I will figure out the name. I don't remember the design off the top of my head. But it's basically you take a self-striping and you do a little bit of color work and then it turns into self-striping socks. So I'm going to do these 2 colorways. These colors. So this is West Yorkshire Spinners in their flamingo legs color. Pink flamingo. And it is a self-striping. And this is some leftover Tosh sock in the Moorland colorway. And this was left over from my Slytherin sweater that I did several years ago.
If I remember it from the Harry Potter Knit Along, October, November, and December, each month has a theme, and you knit a project to somehow fit with the theme.
Yes.
Name of the project, name of the yarn, some explanation for how it fits.
Mm-hmm.
But you've given that theme to work with.
And it is living, as always, as it is always going to be, my By the Bay yarn company that was gorgeously customized for me by a lovely swap partner. Cat hair, however, was customized by the thing under the table. And so, but it's the Slytherin crest. That's going to be October's challenge, and I can't pass it on for another week. This is why I kind of get into a holding pattern, because it has to be October 1. So I get into a holding pattern of I I can finish other things. I finish a freaking sweater.
It's the knitting version of I'm waiting for the thing to start.
Yeah. And so this is not being started until then either, because there is a preparing for Christmas thread which it can be entered in. And then, so 5th years can do their owls. And so basically it's take any of the Hogwarts classes and create a theme around that. And I decided to do divination, because I'm going to do the Oracle Shawl by Kristen of Bullenbein in the Yarn Thousand podcast. And so it is going to be in these. Oh, sorry.
Have you?
Vanna. I mean Vanna.
I got stuck on Oracle because I'm like, have you?
It's a circular shawl with a little brioche and lace in it.
I've seen it. That's what
Okay.
I was like. Have I seen it on the internet, or have you
Yes,
done it
you would.
before?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Before. So it's going to be these 3 colors. So the one in Tandy's hand is Bruce City Yarns, and it's really subtle, but it is speckled in purple and gold, in a goldish yellow.
Yeah,
And it's a Buffy reference. It's called Spike, and it is an MCN. This is Diabolical Yarns, and this is for Sleepy Hollow colorway.
and it sparkles.
It sparkles. And the next one is Hedgehog Fibers in their sock base, and the color is called Hush. So it's very Halloween themed, but it's also
Hush is also an episode name of Buffy.
one of the best episodes, honestly. It's the one with like the creepy gentlemen that are like floating 6
And they have like marker boards, and they're trying to talk.
because it's one of my favorites, because it's a silent film.
Mhm.
So those are all going to go together and make a gorgeous, pretty shawl. And it is living. It will live. In my Hogwarts bag. I did make this. So. And on the inside, it is I open it and close. And the owls run for the whole 3 months of the knit along. So that's going to be my own project. The rest is presents for mom, or sort of.
I'm tempted to pull out that swatch and continue working on it. No, because I need to, like, some people have
Yeah, I
fidget
know, I
spinners or twiddly
understand.
thumbs, and I'm going,
So one of these two,
give me something to fiddle with.
both of these probably are going to end up as socks for mom for Christmas. So this is Evil Goat Yarn in the Troubled Waters colorway on her Squishy Goat, which is 100% merino. And it is probably going to be the Ripple Socks by Mina Phillip. And then this is the Cornucopia colorway by 3 Irish Girls on their Adorn sock base, and I'm not sure what socks it's gonna be, but they're gonna be socks.
I saw a Raina shawl, I think it was, knit in the Cornucopia colorway. Boy, that was pretty.
And I think these are gonna be for me, honestly. So the caked up one is Hoya in the Burmese Ruby, and then this is Kid Silk Lace, Marina, the Hedgehog Fibers in their Merlot colorway, and these are going to be Chestnut Street socks.
Cool.
So I'm gonna hold them double, because they really do match well.
Yeah, I thought they were the same dire name.
Yeah, no, they're different. They're different countries even. Yeah. Wow. Those are gonna be for me. And we're about to have a visitor, I think.
Izzy's getting inquisitive as to what we're doing.
Yeah, because he is. And I think
She's a pile of
I
fabric.
have a pile of fabric.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. You might want to get out that swatch.
Okay.
So
I was lent a sewing machine, but she fully uses hers.
yes. So I'm thinking. So I have a harebrained idea, and I want to try my hand at scrappy bags. So I got some mini charms, and so this is going to be a Christmas. I think this is going to be my Christmas bag this year.
That'll be fun.
It's either going to be. I'm going to use either all or parts of it, and if I don't use all of it, I think it's going to turn it into part of your Christmas bag. So, and then so these are all so these are from Oklahoma until I say otherwise. This one, because this was also going to be my Christmas bag, because this is my mom. She collects nutcrackers.
That one just makes me think of lumberjack.
Yeah, it does. Makes me think of lumberjack. I think it was called Home Down.
If it was white, I'd say a
Hometown.
picnic tablecloth, but black is lumberjack.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like the next one.
We're not going to that one yet. We're still in Oklahoma.
Okay, so I'm seeing flashes of colors or prints, and they're fun and neat.
So these are where I went home. So this one. This one.
Oh, neat! It's like koi fish
Yes.
and seashells.
Cacti.
What is it, like half quarters or quarters? Or
This is half a yard.
Okay.
So gorgeous, lovely cranes. I want to dress out of this, honestly.
I like it.
I'm about to be like, Mom,
They're gorgeous.
I need another one of like my cotton dresses out of this. It's really light and kind of flimsy. Oh, not flimsy, but like really. It would be a good summer dress. Is all I'm saying. And then this one.
Cranes and animals or ostriches or something.
I'm thinking emus.
You use it.
They
Look
look
right,
like
yeah.
emus. And Izzy, you're turning the camera.
Well, you know he's gonna market his head and rub his
Oh, I
face
know,
on
I know.
it.
And then this is another Christmas one. It's really cute and sweet. Okay, so that's the Oklahoma fabric. We have a fabric store here in town. So
I think I've been there. It's a nice place.
this one. This is going into a quilt for Kristen for the baby.
It's the sheep. It's the match the blankie.
Yep. So,
Careful, Izzy.
I'm sorry, he's
Well, I saw him approach, so I put the lid on my empty soda bottle.
this one, which I've been drawing over for a while. It's a Thai scene where it's like everything I have is kind of a Japanese scene, but I love it.
I saw somewhat looked like an island, and my first thought was honestly Gilligan's Island.
Crazy kitty cats.
Cats. Maybe that's my bag of stuff. You've already inspected it. Cats and yarn balls.
And it's a white cat.
Well, you know he's gonna get covered with white cat hair.
Yeah, but I mean, this is basically this is the epitome of my cat.
Yeah, you usually, and it's not a. It seems more common to see multicolored or black or tabby or non-white cats on fabric, but that's Izzy.
He was doing that earlier.
Yeah.
He was cleaning himself. Yeah. This one.
Izzy. I have
This
a
one
large.
has been.
I brought a large bag with all of my things in it for the day from my place. Well, Izzy just jumped into it and it tipped over on him. And
He keeps me entertained. This one, which is going to be a present bag for someone in the Friday night group that I knit with.
they're good people.
They are. is this one. But you can just use this one.
Oh, I love it.
So, then
This
Tula Classics.
I was gonna say I recognize this pattern, or you like that designer.
It's Tula Pink.
Yeah.
I would just made out of her fabric, and this is some of her more of her daily style. And last but not least, the big ladies' heads.
Oh yeah.
That'll get made into matching cousin bags. One for me, one for my fairy goth cousin. Alright, so to sewing. So when I went away, I took a lot of sewing with me to work on. And I finished my...
The cat is just in my bag, and her tail is hits though, slowly going back and forth, like a pendulum of a clock.
I like that. And I finished, I put out and sewed all of the top of the project quilt.
Oh, I like how it's not all squares, but you got some squares, some rectangles, and
So this is by Jacqueline Salem. Pattern was like, she wrote the pattern and everything for it. So, and this is the one I couldn't finish because I left the backing. Yeah. And it just worked so well. And then this is going to be the binding of it. So it just worked too well to try and replace this if I couldn't find this exact pattern. So it's not done yet. It needs to be ironed again and basted. Then I got to the point last month where all I wanted to do, like I needed a creative outlet, but I was at such a state that I couldn't knit. Certain stressors in my life just became overwhelming. And so I got 2 jelly rolls. Thank you. From just the local craft store, and I did a jelly roll race quilt. We're just gonna do half of it. And it has metallic color and everything.
Yeah. Oh, it's shiny.
But I didn't really do much of a quilt, so it's just plain on the back. So
that'll be nice and cozy.
Yeah, and it'll be nice and light. I just haven't found it off yet. I just haven't found it yet.
Oh.
That really should have been on this higher on my to-do list when I was home, but it wasn't. I did finish quilting my quilt and binding it and everything.
I see some fabric I recognize.
Yeah. That one.
Yes, that one.
She might have a bag out of
I do.
this fabric.
She showed me some fabric options, and I picked it's like an elephant head on it.
Yeah. So this is a disappearing 9-square quilt. I don't really it. We'll just take pics of it. But I did the top several years ago, and I finally did the backing of it and found it off and did the quilting. So, and this is what I've been using most often now. I've been sitting with Izzy because, as you can tell, I have all the cat hair. So it will get washed soon. So, I think that's all the insanity. Thank you for sticking with us. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.